It's day 3 in our month of Tag Back, the show where we take a look at a blaster from the past and see what it can offer us today in the present, and this time! Kind of a special blaster. It's a blaster with a funny name. It's a blaster with a legacy, and its legacy is that it might actually be NERF's first official video game tie-in blaster. I mean, what could possibly go wrong? So for this one, we're taking it off the wall. The 1994 NERF Ballzooka, a name that will never not be funny. Rotating barrel blasts up to 15 balls, 10 balls included. Would you look at that? NERF's been cheaping people out for quite a long time. I guess it wasn't Hyper that was the first thing to not come with enough balls. It does not come with balls, Goodwill wrote on the box, and that's fine. I've got like a whole 2 of them. I need more ballistic balls. The ultimate in barrel blasting action. Ballzooka's rotating barrel blasts up to 15 balls that rain down on targets in rapid fire succession. 10 balls included, ballistic balls refill packs sold separately. 1. Load 2 balls into each barrel. Each barrel will hold up to 3 balls. Extra balls are sold separately. 2. Pull handle all the way back. To fire, quickly push all the way forward as hard as you can. You can break these things. I know, because the last one I had was broken because of people who broke it, so be gentle. And it says stock up with these NERF heavy hitters, the Arrow Storm Gatling unit, which I think I have one, the Missile Storm Gatling Blaster, I don't think I've ever even seen that, the Switchfire, again, I don't have one of those either, and a Sneak Shot, which I totally have. 1994, this blaster debuted. That is before the era of the crossbow, making this one of the oldest blasters we've taken a look at on this channel so far. And this one for a whole, what, like retailed at like $30, I think, gave you a whole 4 NERF points. We really do care. And there we are. High capacity NERF, circa 1994. This thing looks phenomenal. There's like not even a scratch on it. The stickers look pristine. That's incredible for a blaster that's super old, almost as old as I am. We don't get to talk about them a whole lot on this channel, but this is the NERF Ballistic Ball. It is one of the original NERF ammos and one of the most fondly remembered, in my opinion, because it's been there since pretty much the beginning with the Blast-A-Ball and the Master Blaster, and now the Ballzooka. You just kind of shove them in the front. Each chamber will apparently hold 3 balls up to a total of 15, but I've got a total of 2 here, but you can still get the same effect. Pull it back, and it indexes, push it forward, and it fires. Except for this one, the ball's misshapen. So go like that, and then we'll index it. So for here, it's got a nice pop to it, and a similar type of pop to it. Now it should be noted, 15 rounds of such a large ammunition in a package this small. That's pretty incredible for a blaster like this, and I'm quite impressed that they managed to put that much firepower in a blaster of this size. But let's be real, the modification potential of this thing isn't exactly stellar. Small air volume, small draw, it's a HAMP, higher pressure manual pump, which means it basically will fire as hard as you can push this forward, and that's the best you're gonna get out of it. The whole clicking and spring loading everything is just the actual chambers and of course the barrel indexing, which locks into place very strongly, I might add. With rapid firing up to 15 of those beautiful ballistic balls, again in a package this small, that's a lot to love, but it doesn't offer us a whole lot nowadays now, does it? Sure, it would be super fun to use, but ballistic balls are kind of a premium item, and they get lost and stolen easily, so I wouldn't really recommend using one of these things when there's probably other things out there that would fit the same exact role as your Ballzooka. However, this thing does have a legacy. A legacy because in 1994, or presumably earlier, Accolade Games and Kenner, the makers of NERF at the time, apparently 2 of their executives met in an elevator and came up with the bright idea of including the NERF Ballzooka in their latest video game hit.
I like it.
Bubsy 2, the sequel to Bubsy. This is one of those games that you either have fond memories of it or is absolutely worthless, because Bubsy is not exactly a well-designed game. It did get this sequel, and of course, the ever-lovable Bubsy 3D, one of the worst video games ever made. The problem with Bubsy is that it doesn't really have a clear identity. It wants to be Mario, but it also wants to be Sonic, while having the glide from Aero the Acrobat. It doesn't exactly play all that bad, but it doesn't exactly play all that well. But his main weapon of choice, canonically, is the NERF Ballzooka, a blaster you can find in the game and collect balls for power-ups to reload it and shoot the things to progress through each stage. Does that make it worth picking up and playing? Maybe if you're really curious, but I highly recommend you don't. But it's really cool to see that as far back as 1994. Like, this NERF wasn't exactly the biggest thing ever back then. It got its own video game tie-in. That's kind of nifty. So now if you find one of these in a thrift store and you make sure it actually isn't broken and seems like it works, it can be worth picking up if you can find a ballistic ball or 15 for it, but I don't think it's something you necessarily need to go out and rush and get because it doesn't really have a lot of mod potential. It doesn't really have a lot of things to add to your arsenal nowadays, but it should be said that this thing is stupidly fun and represents perfectly NERF in the 90s next to sea creatures and stuff like that. But that's all I've got for you. I'm Walcom S7. Thank you very much for watching this video. Chances are, if you got all the way to the end, you like what I do here, so please hit like, hit subscribe, ring the bell, do all the algorithmic garbage, help the channel grow, help the hobby grow. And don't forget, we still have many more days of old and not so old blasters ahead of us. I'm trying to space these out as much as possible, trying to do not too much NERF in a row, too much Buzzbee in a row. In fact, I think tomorrow's blaster will be something just that's none of them. Probably a company you've never even heard before. And of course, I hope to see you in an entirely different one. Back on the shelf you go, Ballzooka. I want that written on my tombstone.
You gotta